Truth be told, when I wonder what the future holds, it takes me out of the present. New moon waxing, full moon waning, crescent. Life cycles, teammates or rivals. Soul search later as World War III, the goal's always survival. That's nature, day you're born when you meet your maker. Tears start chasing paper, burning trees or melting glaciers. But truth be told, when I wonder what the future holds, it's impossible to process, so I stay focused on my progress.
Yes, people. Welcome back to the Triple Captains podcast, episode 8. Been a decent week for once, you know? Arsenal getting the right press, doing big moves, risky moves, and they're coming off. So, you know, I'd like to say cheers to the lads in there. Cheers to the lads. How you man doing? Thank you, Guffs. There you go. I like that.
You see, I'm humble. You see. I know you keep saying I'm not, good. But you know. I tip my hat to you, sir.
Thank you. You know, bold moves, bold results, but still could have done better. But yeah, Arsenal winning and the risk paying off. I'm happy with that. Are you man good?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. We'll get into the game weeks later on in the show, but another. Yeah, you know. Man's cut me off, you know, it's a Ross.
No, my bad. My bad. It's all good, Badgie. Floor is yours.
No. Go on, Archie. Do you think, bro?
Yeah, no, he's a bit quiet, you know. I want to see what's going on over there.
Yeah, nothing's going on over here, my friend. I'm full of it, like a whore's drawers.
Well, what I would say is, you know, you're the stat man himself, the Archangel, Mystic Arc, it seems. The last post gone on the Instagram and the other social media platforms shows your prediction from 4 weeks ago. Bold prediction. And I remember a couple of weeks in, or should I say a couple of weeks ago, I said to you, it'll be mad if it actually happens. And, you know.
It did.
Nuno's forever blowing bubbles. Well done. So there's a few congratulations going on today. Man did a bold prediction and it came off. How do you feel? What's your thoughts on that?
You know what? It's a strange one. Like, I always thought that it could happen, but watching them, it's quite frustrating because you now know that us playing them is just going to be a difficult match. Like, new manager bounce and so on. Like, they've done the reverse because Andrew's gone to Nottingham Forest and his new manager nosedive, isn't it? And for this one, he's doing his thing. Like, he's already got his first point. He looked like he was really on it. Like, and I think he will probably do well for West Ham. Like, he won't play like Moyes, but he will bring some solidity to them, some structure. And like, you can see already that he's kind of gone back to that 4-2-3-1 that he was doing when he was at Forest. So, yeah. As you know, in my prediction as well, I did say that I'd go back for Geoff after Nuno goes there. So, we all know my transfer.
Was he straight in there
couple of weeks.
Against Arsenal?
Nah, he won't be straight against Arsenal. I've got other issues that I've got to take care of. But yeah, like, Geoff will find his way in there. Like, he's too good a price point. And I think he's got the most assists of any defender. He's like got 4 assists now.
I'm not going to lie there. I've got to keep it real. I'm very impressed with that prediction. I don't know how anyone else is seeing it, but for me, it is a random prediction because we always guess what could happen, and most of the time it might not happen. So when it actually does happen, you've got to give yourself a bit of credit, or the people that I heard should give you a bit of credit. So that's what I'm about. So you said but 4 weeks, but give it 4 weeks and he'll be their manager. And 4 weeks later, he was their manager. And at the time, he was still at Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
Can you just tell me, like, when Amring's going? Where's Amring going?
No. We want him in. Like, I have real big issues with like all these fans that talk about him being sacked and so on. I'm like, if you don't support Man United, like, you need to get in the bin or you need to gargle some Dettol in your mouth because you should want him to stay. Like, I don't
100%.
Like,
I was doing that with Tag. I was saying he should stay. Don't go. And Ange, oh, he's won your trophy. Don't get rid of him. Don't do it.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many people. It's like they just want to be famous. Talking about he should get sacked and so on. Nah, stay there. I don't want a good Man United. They can stay being out there.
Thinking he should get sacked and wanting him to get sacked, two different things, aren't it? Like, I don't want him to get sacked, but do I think he gets sacked? I mean, it's inevitable, isn't it, really, to be honest about it. I mean, they can't keep losing games. So I think it's going to happen.
Nah, I need them to.
I'm hoping they win this weekend.
Arteta.
They should win this weekend against Sunderland, so they feel like, okay, we'll keep them a bit longer, you mean, and have a false sense of security.
Will they win at Sunderland, though? Sunderland are doing well right now. So...
No, I don't know, but I want them to win. Right? Yeah, they're at home.
Look, the bottom line is they could have got rid of him time ago and they haven't, so it is what it is. But look, we've had to, like I said, congratulations on that prediction because, that can't just get brushed under the carpet. That was a bold prediction and it came off, so credit where credit's due. Like I said.
Now I just need to reflect it on my team, right? maybe that could help out.
Oh mate, these headphones are giving me trouble, so but I'm not going to switch. I'm going to keep it moving. Let me see. Look, I might have to if it keeps it up. I'm not going to lie, but yeah, it's just the left there for some reason. But anyway, Arsenal. I said I'm not going to touch too much on what I did this week until later. So let's move into Arsenal. That was the big game of the week. And, boy, it's a lot to be spoken about, really. And that can lead us into other things because it was a great result, but there's controversy as there was throughout the whole weekend. So what's your thoughts, Guffs?
Do you know what? I mean, first and foremost, I wasn't watching the game live. I was at a wedding, unfortunately. And I was kind of pressing update on my phone, trying to get
did
updates.
You say unfortunately?
Well, do you know what? Well, I say unfortunately because, I'll come on to it in a minute. But the point I'm trying to make here is if I was actually watching this game live, the stress I would have been under because there was so much going on in that game with the missed chances, with the Newcastle goal, with the penalty that was overturned. But obviously, when you know the result, obviously you feel differently when you're watching the game, right? But look, I don't want to go on.
Just describe watching match of the day, bro.
Yeah, but it's like I can imagine what you guys were going through watching the game live. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it was one of those games which just looked like it was action packed, full of different sort of like decisions. But in terms of the actual team and how we played, the first half was really good, and I think you now see the value of having Eze on the pitch and playing in the middle, right? He gives you the option of putting balls through. He shoots on sight. He had 2 or 3 opportunities, which was well saved by Pope. But it also kind of made me think why he didn't play and why maybe Arteta kind of held him back a little bit. Because I think the physicality that Arteta wants from his team, maybe he felt that he wasn't quite there physically, right? To sort of play that kind of not only offensively, but defensively. And now he's kind of like had a few training sessions. Perhaps he now feels more comfortable to put him in and he can perform both duties. And, what I saw was a player
that saying it's that Arteta did the right thing now then?
No, I still think he should have played Eze, but I do kind of somewhat understand why he didn't play Eze because he probably was looking for someone that can give him that kind of physicality in the middle of the park. I still would have played Eze, let's get it straight. But yeah, I thought it was a good performance. I think it was probably one of our best performances so far this season, if not our best, from an offensive standpoint.
So let me ask you something.
Yeah.
You said that you were paying attention on your phone, right? But obviously you couldn't watch the game. What was your thoughts? Yeah, because obviously I see some interesting moves from you on an FPL one, and it's like you had Gyökeres benched and Pope in goal. I was like, interesting moves against your team. So when we was in position where Pope is making all these saves, was you like thinking that you're racking up them 3 points bonuses for each save and thinking it's the right move? I've got to ask you.
Not at all.
What was your thoughts, really?
I try and play the game without emotion, right? I always want Arsenal to win. So it's Arsenal over everything. regardless, right? And I'm always happy, even if you benefit from Gyökeres scoring and going, I don't care as long as Arsenal win. But I just felt this is one of those games where Gyökeres would find it difficult against the Newcastle team who were quite physical. You know, Gyökeres, his main traits are his power and his pace, and I think that Newcastle match it quite well against those traits. So I just felt there'd be a game that he was struggling, and I had better options in midfield for this game week, which is why I benched him. With Pope was in my team because I had Sanchez at the same price point, right? And I'll get into this later on. And he was the only other keeper in that price point that was kind of worth putting in my team. And I didn't want to play Dubravka because Dubravka was playing against Man City, so I had no choice but to play Pope. So it's just more kind of a case of just like I had to play him. It wasn't like I was going against my team. It was just, that's how it played out.
Hey, I've got to ask these questions because people watching and know that we're all Arsenal fans could think you put Pope in that week and you benched Gyökeres that week. And it's a genuine question because when it was towards at one point, we needed to get back into the game. And Gyökeres is on the bench. So if he scores 2 goals now, you've got him on your bench hitting 2 goals. Or Pope kicks a clean sheet, you've got a clean sheet out of it. Plus 3 bonuses because of all the saves he did. So I have to ask this question because if it was me, I would be expecting that question and answer it honestly like you've done. So the question had to be asked. But anyway.
No, I hear it. But like, I'll let you guys speak now. But like, all I will say is that it was a much better performance from the Arsenal. I was really encouraged by what I saw. One of the things I really appreciate that we kept battling, right? We kept going forward. We kept sort of trying to sort of like break down Newcastle. Second half was pretty tough. Newcastle was obviously set defensively with that 5 at the back, and it was hard to break him down. But, you know, it reinforces the idea that I think we've got the best squad in the league. We've got so many options coming to the bench as well. And it's so funny how quickly things can change, right? I mean, 1 minute of football can just change your whole game week. You know, 1 minute at Palace, Liverpool, you know, it's 2-1 they lose. 1 minute at Arsenal, Newcastle, 2-1 we win. And suddenly it's like, could have been 8 points and now it's 2. So the whole kind of perspective of the game week completely changes now. And now we're going to a set of games which are quite good for Arsenal. So, this is a good moment for Arsenal, and hopefully we can now build on it. Every game in this league is tough, so there's no given 3 points. But we should be looking at next set of games and be confident about trying to pick up some wins and keeping that momentum going forward. But I was really happy about what I saw. I really thought that we played well. And the big question I'm going to leave you guys with before I hand it over is, what do you guys think he will do now with Odegaard and Eze? Because to me, Eze played well in that middle position, but Odegaard obviously came off the bench and done well, and he's our captain. What do you think he'll do? Do you think he'll cop out and put Eze on the left, or do you think he'll start Eze in the middle?
Well, first thing I want to say is that Newcastle actually had a good performance too. So if I was a Newcastle fan, I would be thinking, you know, I'm happy with the fight that we put up against Arsenal. And I would have some positives from that too. Obviously, Arsenal are the winners, so that's who gets the limelight. And as my team, I'm happy. I'm glad we got the winner because I felt aggrieved that wasn't a penalty. So I feel like justice was done in the end, in my view. I think the Odegaard situation, he's just come back from injury. I know it's his shoulder. He started on the bench, he's come on. Like with Martinelli. I know he's our captain, which I don't think he should be, if I'm completely honest. But that's another story for another day. But, we've got Champions League, we've got games, so it all depends what team we put out in the Champions League. We might start Odegaard in the Champions League and bench Eze. So then we know going into West Ham, he's going to play Eze. So it all depends on that sort of thing. So I can't really make a prediction. It's a bit awkward when there's games to come. What I would say is that one time I would like to see Odegaard and Eze both in the middle. There's a mad attacking team going for it. It'll be interesting against a weaker opposition, obviously. But Arc, what's your views on the result this weekend?
I thought the result was good. I thought we completely owned them. It was really unfortunate that we conceded. At no point did I think their tactics were working whatsoever. They did the usual, just the Newcastle thuggery. Let's kick and maim whoever players. I think within the first 30 seconds, Joe Linton should have at least got booked. Could even been more for the swiping and nonsense he was doing with Saka, but this is what happens. It's a common theme every time you play Newcastle. They do the same thing and then they're up in arms if they get anything back. I think there was a point where I saw Guimaraes basically bear hugging Gabriel when he was trying to get away from him. He might even have been Timber. Like, it's all the same kind of thing. Just frustrating piece. They're a team that I've got no disrespect to their fans. Like, I don't know any of them. The few that I've come across, they've been cool. But that team and Eddie Howe, not for me. Don't like them. They just remind me of Wimbledon 0.20. Like,
you mentioned that previous episodes that you're not really feeling the team.
But I
think he's an arrogant little runt. Like, I think the way that his team plays is just he just comes across.
Even Howe's arrogant.
Yeah, like he comes across like that, and is for me like he's done good at when he was at Bournemouth or whatever not. But since he's been at Newcastle, I don't know why he plays them the way that he does, or why he promotes the thuggery that they're on. But that's what he does. That's his thing. But I don't really care. Like, wanted us to go there and do our thing. We did. I think that we'll give them the same kind of medicine when they come down to the Emirates. So I'm all good. And with regards to the Eze scenario that you was talking about, I find it kind of interesting that you say, oh, is he going to cop out by playing him on the left? I think that was always the idea. Like, he was never going to come in and just replace Ødegaard. Like, he's the captain. We all know what Arteta is like when it comes to squad hierarchy. So Ødegaard is going to play. I think the one that is going to take a hit on things is Trossard and Martinelli. They'll be sitting on the bench whilst Eze does his thing. I thought that Sunday's game was a bit weird in terms of what we got from Trossard. Like, often he was in the position that I would have expected to see Eze. Like, it was quite interesting, but then again, we were pinning them so much that it kind of didn't matter. But if you watch a lot of the time, there's hardly anybody out wide other than California.
Do you know what's interesting watching the game, like not live, was that I was actually able to watch it with a more of a tactical eye. When I'm watching the game live, I'm so emotionally invested in the game. I'm watching the game, right? And I'm just like, oh, you do it! But watching the game, knowing the result, actually I was watching and kind of analysing certain things that happened in the game tactically. It was interesting to sort of see like how Arteta changed things within the game, you know, and some of the positions that certain players were taking up. Like, there were times when you like you mentioned, Art, where Trossard was taking a much more sort of inverted position and allowing Calafiori to kind of go around the outside. But then there were times when he was taking a very wide position and we were almost having like a box midfield, and Calafiori was kind of entering that space and kind of adding bodies in the middle and that physicality. So it was interesting to sort of see at certain parts of the game how he was tweaking things that's, you know, every 20 minutes or so to sort of adjust how the flow of the game was going. So I found it really intriguing watching the game. But on your point on Newcastle and their style, I mean, we've spoken about it before, right? I mean, I just like the variety of Newcastle, what they bring. And I'm a little bit surprised, actually, that you would feel...
What is the variety? They're transitional and they kick people.
I'm surprised that someone like you wouldn't like it, because you're like usually a person who's like, you know, when men were men. And like, to me, that's the kind of brand they play, right? They play like a very, you know, physical brand of football, which, you know, I thought you'd appreciate that personally.
I get that, but they don't. I feel that they cross the line, and I feel that they're a team that is easy to beat if you don't get caught up in the emotion. I think that has been the problem that we've had every time we've played them away. We get caught up in the emotion, and we almost did with the penalty that never got given. Like, because you could see for about 10 minutes after that, Saka looked like he wanted to lose his mind with somebody. Like, there were a few of our players that were going a bit wild, like, because of that, and then especially when they scored the goal.
Well, Gabriel, who finished on 13 points, which is a good, you know, a return after conceding a goal for a defender. He lost his mind. First, he got a little nudge and fell to the ground, but he rose and got that goal for us to make it up. But then he did lose his mind with that little push to the face or whatever it was.
He got lucky.
Yeah,
So like,
the thing is, I rate Gabriel highly, but I think when you have scenarios with him where like you make him captain and things like this, it takes his emotions into another realm, which is not good for him. I think he is a person that like you need him to have his responsibilities. So like, I don't know, if he was looking at this like rugby, you got a pack leader, like that's what Gabriel is, but he's not the captain, like because a captain can't do some of the things that he does when his emotions get going, like and yeah, he was very fortunate to be on.
Where do you rank him?
Go on.
No, it's got. I was going to say, where do you rank Gabriel in the best defenders in the league?
Well, he's one of the best defenders in the league, isn't it? There's no doubt.
Yeah, I'd go as far to say that he is the best defender in the league. Like for 2 years straight, like I can't really see anybody that can really talk to him. Like obviously Van Dijk is Van Dijk, but in reality, the performances and the consistency have all been Gabriel. And to be fair, like I still believe that Van Dijk is better than him, but I don't think that he has played consistently better than him for the last 2 years. Likewise, I feel like even Saliba, he's better than him in terms of what he can bring as a defender, the finesse that he can add and so on. But the consistency that Gabriel has put down, especially after the start that he had when he started playing with us, top notch. Like, you can't find anyone better than him.
Because I feel like I've mentioned Van Dijk before, and I actually still feel that he's had some good performances, to be fair to him, but I still feel like he's not the Van Dijk of previous years. But what I was going to say anyway is we was talking about Gabriel and that he was fortunate not to potentially get a red for the contact to the face, right? Because I'm not biased and I'm an Arsenal, even though I'm an Arsenal fan. It could have been a red card, right? We'd agree that.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's just, we've spoken about Arsenal. VAR. Because, okay, that could have been a red card on Gabriel. We should have had a penalty. You got a man like Howard Webb coming out saying it definitely wasn't a penalty. You've got the whole of social media and, people in football having an opinion. I would say majority believe it was a penalty. But then you've got people like Howard Webb, the other foolish ref or ex-ref. What's your view, firstly, on VAR in the Arsenal game? And then let's talk about the VAR situation in the other games. Because VAR is a big topic for this whole weekend and has been all season.
I mean, I think I spoke on this a few weeks ago on a show, and my opinion hasn't changed. It's not VAR; it's the people that are using VAR that are the problem. And I'm gonna put the blame. I'm gonna portion a lot of the blame on Howard Webb here because, he was brought in here to essentially kind of bring order to the system, right? He was brought in a couple of years ago when VAR was first brought in, and there was lots of complaints about how it's used, and he was kind of brought in to sort of marshal the whole thing and sort of bring some clarity to how it's used. And in my opinion, it's in more of a mess than it ever was. And, the problem I have, I have a lot of problems with VAR, but the biggest issue I have is it's clear to me the refs don't even understand the rules. You sort of see them on the pitch and they go into the screens and they're confused. Like, what is obvious? What isn't obvious? Like we don't know. And it's really spoiling the game now. I think that as viewers, we can understand when certain decisions don't go for us, right? That's part of football. Sometimes it's going to work for you, sometimes it's not going to work for you. But what we want as viewers, we want to understand what the parameters are. We want to know that's a penalty, that's not a penalty, and understand what the rules are. But when the people giving these decisions don't even know what the rules are, it just completely brings a whole kind of confusion to the whole game. And, people can argue all they want about whether or not they thought the penalty was a penalty for Gyökeres, right? And I think you can have an argument either way. The question is, I thought that clear and obvious decisions was the rule now. If it's not clear and obvious, and that's clear by how long it took to make a decision, why has it intervened? So it's just completely undermined the whole kind of like rules that they put in place themselves. So it's a complete and utter mess. And I don't really know where we go from here. I think they did try to sort of soften the rules a little bit from last year, so they're letting a lot more things go, which I think is good for the game. But we need to have more clarity around
Are they?
sort of.
Are they?
Yeah,
They said that the ref's decisions are going to be more valued, right? So in that situation there, the ref said it's a pen. There's nothing clear and obvious that it wasn't a pen. So therefore, VAR wasn't meant to get involved. They said that they're going to start penalising penalising people for doing certain things, but I don't see certain teams getting penalised as quick as other teams. So I'm not saying there's bias or not. What I'm saying is there's no consistency.
Do you know what gets my nervous?
Yeah, it's just dumb.
Do you know what's dumb about it, right? You got people like this idiot, Dermot Gallagher, who's on Sky Sports, chatting the biggest amount of crap you could ever think of. His argument is, a lot of people are saying, well, comparing it to Sanchez one against Man United, Sanchez collided with Mbomo, all right? So not only did he stop Mbomo, but he collided into him. Whereas Pope planted his foot. Now, to me, that's a stupid argument to make, right? Because if you are to run towards me, Hots, okay, at full speed, which Eucharist was, and as you approach me, I put a massive rock on the floor, and you can't stop yourself and you fall over the rock, is that not my fault? Doesn't matter that the rock's stationary. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, this whole idea that just because...
Anyway.
But regardless of if it's planted or not, he's in Gyökeres's way. So he still impeded Gyökeres. So this whole idea that his foot planted is a null and void point. And also, this whole idea that, okay, so Pope slightly touched the ball, so therefore it's okay. Okay, well, if we're going to use that rule and say that a slight touch now then voids it being a foul, does that now mean if I kick you in your face, but by doing so, I just shade the ball, it's not a red card, no? It's not a red card. It's not a foul.
To be fair, that happened, right? To be fair, that happened and it wasn't a red card, so they're being consistent, isn't it? But I don't know, like, to me, I think the Gyökeres thing is a bit of a nuance, right? So I hear and agree with the was it clear and obvious as an error. However, when it's to do with a goal scoring opportunity, like, they move differently around it in terms of the way that they look at things, and they will advise. I just think that they have done a lot to justify what the decision that they made. So for instance, when we look at it and say, and I don't want to make this all about just Arsenal, but unfortunately Arsenal have like come a cropper on certain decisions that are kind of like this, right? So, okay, we're saying that Pope got a touch on the ball, but the reality is Pope only got a touch on the ball because Gyökeres moved it that way, like, and it ricocheted on him. It wasn't that Pope met the ball, it just touched him, right? Which is similar to when Saliba had that situation with Pedro and the ball touched his head, but then his follow through got Pedro and everybody was up in arms immediate. Nah, that's a pen. What? So you're allowed to assault people then, are you? Like, how can that not be a pen? So it doesn't make any sense, because those same people that were making all of that noise are the same people that are saying, nah, it wasn't a pen because he touched it. Like, and for me, like, it's weird. Like, when you speak to rival fans and stuff, like, I get it. Like, they get triggered by Arsenal. So, like, they will come up with all these cock and ball stories and stuff like this. But the issue was the ref. Because if you actually watched the ref in that game, he didn't give the penalty immediately. He actually looked at it for a good 10 seconds and then pointed to the spot. So he actually thought about it. He made that decision and said, you know what? Yeah, that's a pen. Right? It's VAR that actually said to him, nah, we think you need to look at this and da-da-da. And even that is a cop-out, because basically they didn't want to say, yeah, it's a pen. Like, so we overrule you. So then they put it back in his court saying, oh, well, we're telling you it's wrong, but you need to go over there and look at it and make out like, oh, you know, you've looked at it and now that you've seen this. Because even to your point, Hots, the amount of time that he had to be watching it to look at it, to try to confirm to himself that, yeah, okay, there was a touch, so therefore the ball was played. It's the fact that even when he responded and he was talking about it, he said, Pope played the ball. You're like, so if Pope played the ball, all right, fine. Let's say we get over all of that controversy. How did it restart with Pope. Why wasn't he our corner? If he played the ball, right? So it's just an odd one, like, and it's starting to feel like VAR is just made up as and when, like, and this is not just an Arsenal thing. Like,
that's exactly the point.
It's for many other teams.
They're making it up as they go along. That's how I feel.
Whoever's in VAR at that point, just it's like if I'm in VAR next week, I'm gonna be like, no, it's Arsenal, so I'm gonna look way out for them. And then next week, the next man is weird. It's just mad.
It's every week. Every week we learn a new rule. Like, oh, is that the rule now? Is it? It's like, that's how I kind of feel. Like, you're just making things up.
Like? This is what it's like. It's like it's a union of referees, sorry, and it's like Guffs is in it this week. If he's making a error, we're going to stand by him and back him and look for all the things to back him up on it, rather than just keeping it real and honest. And I think until that happens, it's going to be a mess. But look, you mentioned a kick in the face, and you said it's actually happened, Arc. So let's go to that game.
One caveat.
Go on.
If the folk out there that are either listening or viewing this are hearing sounds that it seems like I've got a baby horse next to me or something, I haven't. It's a French bulldog. If any of you out there have got a French bulldog, you will know they snort, they do all sorts of weird and wonderful things at the best of times. So if you're hearing anything dodgy...
The old French bulldog one, yeah?
Yeah. Right. I don't have a gremlin here. It's just Kano the dog. Anyway, yes. Sorry, go ahead, Hots.
You said the kick in the face.
Yeah, from Brighton Chelsea.
Yeah.
That one was even more amusing because it's more the fact that the kick in the face has happened and the ref actually looked at it. It's the ref that would just ruled like, nah, it's nothing. And then what made that worse was that VAR did get involved. They looked at it and said it's inconclusive. I have no idea how it could be inconclusive. Everybody and his friend could see.
Mad.
Like,
there are so many things this week.
It's but thankfully with that, it didn't prevent the.
Thankfully Brighton still came through and won that game, right? But like Chelsea have been fortunate with a few little. I mean, obviously last week they got the red card. It should be a red card, but they had one at Fulham, the goal that never was, right? And Fulham scored a perfectly legitimate goal. So they've had a few things go their way this season, and that was just like wild to me. But you've also got you were going to say before. The next one was obviously Man United, right? I think you were going to say Hots. Again, another game where, I'm an Arsenal fan, right? I hate Man United fans, so I'm glad it went against them. But the penalty, that's a red card all day long. Like, if you're through on goal and you have to score a goal and man just twists you and pulls you on the floor, that's a red card. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand what's going on. But yeah, it's just crazy, like what's going on right now with these referees. They're just completely clueless right now and lost. And I don't watch enough European games to know if it's common around Europe, if it's actually a global thing, or if it's just these refs in this country. So I don't see it as much.
So the big question: Did Bruno start crying this time?
I didn't see that game, if I'm honest. I saw that situation from Bromo, and I saw him whining and moaning like something, and everyone complaining about the VAR taking time. But I don't know if he was crying this time round after this miss.
You know what? To be honest, like I get fed up with Bruno. Like everybody is always making excuses for this guy. Like when something goes wrong, it's never his fault. Like they blame everything else under the sun.
I understand that delayed time and a penalty can be nerve-wracking for some, but you're meant to be their main guy. You're meant to just bury that. And like if you don't, you don't. But you just take it and you move on. It's not trying to find excuses and stuff like that. I'm not gonna. I've said what I've had to say about him when he was crying about it last time around. This time he just missed again, and I'm gonna let him be. Do you know what I mean? Just let him. His whining was done by the end of the match. They got beat. It was what it was. But I think in the Liverpool game, there was another situation again. Like, man like Salah. Like, one of you explain that one to me.
I mean, apparently, their goal. Thank God, Palace won that game. It would have been a crime if Liverpool got even a point from that game because Palace were all over them. And to score a goal, which apparently is not conclusive, right? Although the stills clearly show his hand on the ball. So I don't understand what's not conclusive about that when the actual still picture shows a ball and his hand on the ball. Doesn't matter if it touched for a millisecond or not. It touched the ball. That's what we're doing here. It's just, yeah. You know what? I really try to approach these situations here with like, and try to be fair to refs and say like, you're not biased. You're not biased. Like it's just like they're incompetent. But it's difficult as an Arsenal fan to feel that way when you see these things happening on a weekly basis. Like absolute nuts to me.
What I would say is this week, well, maybe the results I wanted happened. So that's why I'm not too fussed about it. But, there was a handball in that game. Liverpool lost. Chelsea lost. United lost. So because of the end results, I wasn't fussed. So for me, that's what's made me not really talk that much about it. And even in our game, we got bumped on a penalty. But once Gabriel stepped up and got those big 13 points, and he's not even in my team, but from a FPL perspective, that's a big 13 points. I didn't care about the missed penalty. I just felt sorry for Gyökeres because people are onto him. He's getting a bit of, people still, he's, 3 and 6. He would have had an opportunity even a penalty to make it 4 and 6. And he earned that because, he got there, got in a position. It's a foul. But it is what it is.
I think
there's one, gone.
I understand what you're saying about the results have kind of made it that you're not as vexed as you would be usually when you're thinking about it. But if I be honest with you, like I just feel that VAR is a problem, like full stop. Like within the Arsenal game, there was at least 4 different incidents where I'm like, well, why didn't VAR step in there, or how did VAR look at that and say no? But also, I think the other things that you think about, like you've got technology in place now, like for things like the amount of times that people are getting corners when they shouldn't have had corners, say, like, or where a free kick should have occurred or somebody was offside, that didn't get ruled, and then we get a set piece play that was. I think even for the goal that Palace scored, like I think Liverpool was supposed to get a goal kick really, like beforehand. Then it went out and they went and done what they did. Now don't get me wrong, big shout out to Palace. I think when I was looking at it, I think they got 4 shots on target within the first 23 minutes. I mean, that's the most anybody has got against Liverpool for a good while, right? Like Palace did their thing. Like they were all structured. They all over them. They done whatever, and to be quite frank, they taught many people a lesson of how to approach Liverpool. But they're becoming Liverpool's bogey side as well, because I think they've beat Liverpool in like 3 different places now in the space of a year and a half.
They're the only team unbeaten right now. They've been proven to be a solid team, to be fair.
Don't worry.
And they're showing Amarin how to play that system. You know what I mean? They're showing how it's done. You know what I mean? Because they're playing the system correct.
When I look at the games and I'm like, it's been some strange decisions and things this game. It leads me to think like there is when I look at VAR, obviously when I do my donut of the week, it's always a player, even though I have done VAR once. But I could do VAR every single week.
Yeah.
Because every single week VAR does something. So I'm never going to do VAR again. But I'm sure if there's weekends like the one that's just gone, we're going to talk about VAR because we can't not. But there was candidates for donut of the week this week. But I'm going to finish off on the Man City game because this week's donut of the week is Estevie. Like 2 own goals. Like, I don't want to say how unlucky can you be, but 2 own goals. Don't get twisted. Me personally, I'm liking the fact that he got them because I triple captain Haaland, as you might know. But 2 own goals, you've got to be
as you can imagine,
the donut of the week.
I'm not happy about it. I get why he's the donut of the week, but them own goals, they were very costly. Like, meant that Reindeers didn't score, meant that Foden didn't score. Like, I needed them points.
I think
But, you know,
for me, it was
what
like
it is.
you get 2 on goals in one game, and you know, to be fair, I didn't see him crying like some of these other donuts that have been donuts of the week so far. But like 2 on goals you must feel like a proper wally. Like, how do you know? I don't know how you must feel when you walk into the changing room at full time. Just knowing you've got 2 against you, you got a brace, but in your own net.
Yeah, yeah. I do wonder what was the forfeit? Like, what kind of
Like,
battle was
that's
he
mad.
receiving?
Man was on a hat trick.
I think it's unfortunate because I think Esteve is, you know, he's one of their better defenders. And I've, you know, when you said, we don't watch a lot of Burnley. I mean, I've watched him a couple of times this season. You know, he's a very committed defender, and I think that when you are that way, like Carragher, right? Carragher was one of those guys that got a lot of own goals in his career.
Yeah, OGs.
But that was because he was that kind of guy who would always put his head in the mix, just kind of jump in, and it would just inadvertently get in a goal.
He still gets them now.
Yeah, so, and I think Esteve is in that sort of same camp, right? He's quite a committed defender, so he's a bit unlucky, but yeah, he scored 2 own goals, and yeah, you got to.
So, were any of them off his face? Did you like Goodmanson?
No, I don't think it was.
Just smashed off his nose bridge.
No, his ones were. To be fair, like I said, there's other candidates, but I can't say someone else is a donut of the week when you've got 2. You put 2 in your own net. Man's on a brace for own goals. You know.
So, who are the honourable mentions?
I suppose you got to look at if it's player wise. It's a difficult week for that because I would go to say Gabriel for getting the winner. Like, you know, Arsenal needed to win that game. And that's his first goal of the season. So you have to, you know, give him that. You got to say that guy, Danny Welbeck. You know, I think, did he come off the bench or did he start? I can't even remember.
He may have come on the bench.
I think he was on the bench.
They were losing as well, and obviously man come off. So excited he got a yellow in the second goal. Do you know what I mean? But like, you know, I think he gets one. And I guess me for my bravery, innit? Me, you know. I said I said it in advance as well on episode 7 that I'm gonna I've taken a -8 already early, and
I just know.
I did it. The
viewers won't know.
I ain't finished. I did it. All players that I put in went up, and I know for a fact not a lot of people 2-3 chances would take a -8. That's a fact. I'm not saying no one would, but I know many people wouldn't. So for me to do that and it worked, I'm happy because I tell you now, if I didn't do that this week, my week wouldn't have been a good week. So I'm glad I went with that approach. But again,
fair play to you.
And again, the prediction that came through that Art made, I'll give him his props one last time on that because I always thought it was a possibility, like because anything's possible. But I didn't think, oh yeah, that's going to happen. So the fact that he said it and he kept on going on about it as well, like, I remember I said this, it's like he knew. It's like Nuno's uncle or something, do you know what I mean? He just knew it was happening. But I like him, so I'll give him credit on that. But yeah, realistically, those are the main games. VAR, you know, stood out a lot. So that's why we touched on it a lot. And you guys know we support Arsenal, so we're going to touch on them a lot. But yeah, I think that's the roundup, unless anyone else got anything else to add.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Now let's look at our game week results. Starting with you, Arc. Talk us through your results, man.
Always unfortunate when you're starting with me. It means I finish last for the week. Pitfall. To be fair, used the wild card, finally got a green marker, but in reality, there are a lot of things that didn't go the way that I needed them to go. I can talk you through it, but in reality, the captain choice, i.e. Haaland, he did what I said that he would do in my segment last week. He done his thing, but unfortunately for me, where people triple captained, it took them even further afield from where I want to be. Now, going on my team, A couple of the changes that I made, like to talk you through them, they were for me to chase upside. So the reason why Zinchenko is there, he plays relatively high up for Ange at the moment. So my expectancy is that he will get in and around some assists, maybe even a goal. So he's kind of one of my punts. Udogie was the same thing. I knew from some of the midweek games that Tottenham had, it was clear that he was going to rest Spence. So I thought that Udogie was a decent move to be made. And this was ahead of me bringing in Diouf, for instance. So the big misstep was more that I put Senesi on the bench, as I assumed that Bournemouth weren't going to get through that game without conceding. And obviously I took into account that, yes, he's likely to get DEFCON, etc. But it's the assist that really got to me at the end. And with Calafiori and with Byrne, the reason I brought those in is their relative stability with a bit of upside to them as well. But it just didn't align for me the way that it needs to this week. Similar story in midfield. So Semenyo, like obviously that speaks for itself. The Reindeers transfer, but rather me keeping him is the same. He's a decent enabler and they've got some good fixtures coming up. Then obviously what I chose to do was remove Fernandes and I brought in Mbeumo simply because from the perspective of looking at his underlying data and so on, he's got high capacity for shots. I think he's got second most in the box, only to Haaland. He feels like it will pop off for him at some point. He's just underperforming against his expected goal involvement as it stands. And then with Ndiaye, he's got relatively the same spread points-wise as Grealish. He just doesn't have the same kind of PR around him. I think Grealish has gone up like 0.4 million for the same relative points per minute per se. And obviously Ndiaye takes the penalties as well. But there was nothing for him in the game that he just played. And then you've got my punts. My real punt in the front line was Richard the Rice Pudding. He done okay the other week, but they didn't get anything against Wolves, which was the one that I thought actually that could probably come off. Haaland did what he needed to do, and Gyökeres showed signs. He showed some signs of some upshots and so on, and probably he puts me in a good stead for the next couple of weeks, but nothing against Newcastle. So the VAR decision around the penalty was one that particularly upset me and annoyed me, especially as it meant that he only got 2 and I had to then accept that Guffs managed to get a handball assist. But I'm sure he'll go on to that when he gets into his game week. But,
one question I have for you though, Udogie. Yep. So are you not concerned by the fact that with Spurs in Europe, they're going to rotate their fullbacks quite a bit, given that they have Spence who can play games as well?
Yeah, but we're going to get that with most teams, right? It's with Udogie. I had the same issue with where I had Spence, right? So remember a few weeks back I said I'm concerned that once Udogie comes back, he will start rotating Spence out and so on, which he has done.
So you just believe he's the starting left back?
I think that he will be because he's more attacking. When you watch Spence, what you'll see with him is that, yes, he's a very good 1v1 defender, etc. But in games where Tottenham are going to be in the ascendancy, like he struggles a bit from a technical control point of view. So I can see Udogie playing more. The reality is Udogie will probably be the first person out of my team when I'm getting Diouf back in. But I don't think that I'll get Diouf back in until after the international week. But that's kind of where we are at the moment. I don't see a real reason to. I didn't see a real reason to get rid of Vicario. Like he's done well for me this season, and I think that he will continue to. Like he's 5 million, he's decent enabler, and I've got quite a considerable amount of money in the bank, ready for me to pivot to Isak if needs be. Like there with the team, like I think there are a few players where I could say, yeah, there's a relative question mark over. So like, for instance, with Ndiaye, if he doesn't perform over the next 2 or 3 weeks, I've already got my watch list in place, for instance, for another 6.5 midfielder that could come in for it. And for that, there are two that I look at. I look at Rice and I look at Salah. Obviously, with Salah, there's more of a direct attacking threat. With Rice, it would be for security and the fact that, yeah, you will get some assists and sometimes he'll pitch in with a goal.
So that sort of agrees with what I was telling Guffs when I was saying, just because you've done a wild card, which you both have done this week, it doesn't mean when a few weeks go past and the fixtures change, form changes, that you're not going to want to put players in. So then it doesn't mean you're not happy with the wild card you did, but it just means things change. So it's good to hear that in that situation of just doing a wild card, yes, how you're thinking. And I'm sure now we're going to go into Guffs' team, we'll be able to hear his view.
Yeah, I mean, 61 points looks good on paper, but in reality, in the context of this game week, it was a par result again. It's another frustrating week, and I think that one play that summed up my game week was Bruno. You know, like if he scores a penalty, suddenly he's getting 8 to 10 points, and you know my game week is suddenly in the 70s and not 61. So he kind of was the person that sort of swung my game week really. But yeah, look, I think, you know, I really spoke about Pope. Pope is more a case of a long-term thing for me. I think Newcastle will pick up. I think they're a decent defensive team. And I think that, you know, they're usually good for clean sheets. And I thought, let me get Pope now while his price is still relatively stable. Defensively, Cash was just one of those ones where I went to cover Villa because they got a couple of good games. And a good price point, and he does get attacking return. He scored the other day as well. Senesi obviously done his thing for me. The one regret I have in terms of my defence is that I had a team which had Gabriel, but obviously it meant having that sort of certain downgrades in midfield, and I went for not having him. But my worry is that Arsenal have now got a good bunch of games, and I think I need to cover Arsenal's defence. So it's something that I need to sort of look at over the next sort of week or two. Midfield, I mean, you know, again, I took a punt on Xavi Simons. I thought they had a good game against Wolves. And I thought it was one of those ones where I thought, give him a go. Nobody will have him. Could be a good little differential for me. And he got a yellow card, didn't work out for me, so that flopped. Semenyo done what Semenyo does, right? He's just breaking those points up. So I think the Semenyo move was more just to cover what everyone else has got, because I think you need to have him in your team at this point to kind of cover everyone else has him. And yeah, to Archer's point, you know, Rodgers got me a lucky assist. He was the one that I was really thinking about, should I keep him or not? And I kind of, for the similar reason that I kind of brought in Pope, I just think that Villa had to turn a corner, and Villa's good form generally involves him being in the thrust of it. So I've kind of kept him in my team as another differential, because, you know, although I'm not a million miles away from top spot, I'm getting to the point now where I need to kind of have a few differentials to kind of make that grind up over the next few game weeks. So hopefully he can sort of pick up. And then offensively, obviously Haaland done what Haaland does, but, you know, I'm sure we'll come to your team soon, Hots, but although he was my captain, I did not want him to do anything this game week. Do you know what I mean? Because you and you know, other guys who were captaining him, I knew every goal he scored was going to hurt me. And it was looking good for 90 minutes, and then bam, bam, 2 goals, and then suddenly the whole game week changes. So that was a bit of a cut. You can
thank Estevie and the rest of them. But you know what? I still can't get over the Rodgers assist. I don't understand it. Like, something needs to be done. That's just weird. Like, can you handball it and be given the assist? Like, remember, it ricocheted off a defender onto his hand and they gave him the assist. I don't understand. Because last week, Kudos did something similar, so why wasn't Paulino given the assist? It's like very odd to me.
Well, thank you very much for my 5 points, is what I would say. But
I guess
on my bench, I mean, I brought in Richards because I felt that Palace, again, they're one of those teams you kind of have to cover. And I'm sure, again, once we get to Hot's team with Gahey on the bench and his team, you just need to cover their defence because they're getting so many points now defensively, and he's good for DEFCON. So, and Gyökeres was on my bench this week. I just didn't feel that he was going to do anything this week. I thought that it would be a quiet week, and it obviously could have been a penalty and it could have changed things, but it kind of was the right decision to put him on the bench for this game week, but he will be playing in my team. Going forward, he'll be starting my team as we kind of enter a good patch of games for Arsenal. So, yeah, 61 points was okay. It kind of kept me sort of relatively not too far. I didn't lose too much ground on the ones above me, but at the same time, we're getting to that point in the game now where, I want to start kind of closing that gap to a more manageable total. But yeah, it is what it is, man. We move on.
Obviously, coming to my team now. I'll start off by saying this. Every game week, I've had a good bench. And last week, I decided to just activate my bench boost because I just wanted to get rid of the chip. And I got 13 points. And as you can see, I got a bit more than 13, just a little bit. As you mentioned, Gay and Liverpool is now injured. Got me some points there, but wasn't a bench boost. It was the triple captain. So, as I've stated, I took a -8. I had 2 free transfers. I got rid of Sanchez, who conceded 3 goals. And I put in Raya. I was hoping for a clean sheet, but obviously didn't get it. But that was more of a long-term pick for me. I was looking at the 4 players I put in. You knew they would go up, and I knew there would be long-term picks for me. So Sanchez, you knew he had to go, as you heard me say last week. Senesi came in for Munoz, who is a player I really like, but I've got 1 Palace in Gay, and I thought I'd reduce some funds there by putting in Senesi, and Munoz did nothing, and Senesi done, as you can see what he had to do. Consistent defensive contributions, an assist, even though they conceded, so it was another good move in the sense of it rewarded me straight away. I took out Salah, did nothing, put in Semenyo, made my profit on him, got the points, he got the free kick, so he got that. And then I took out Chris Wood, who you'd think would score a goal against the opposition, because this is the time when even I thought he would score some goals within the games that he had, and he flopped again, and I put in Haaland. So when I reflect on my 4 changes, I'm very, very, very happy with those 4 changes. When I look at the rest of my team, I look at it as everyone this week who's got the sort of template players and the same players in general didn't really achieve anything. So you've got to just look at the people that really did. And it was Haaland, Semenyo, Senesi, and the ones with Gabriel. And, there wasn't loads of players that are template and in many people's teams and a high percentage of people's teams that did perform. So I was so glad that I did what I did and that I triple captained Haaland. Because there was a point when I was like, should I triple captain him? Or should I save it? Because there's a few more games coming up. And Burnley are defensively not bad. But I just thought, you know what? He's in form now. And everyone's doing, you 2 are doing wild cards, so you can't triple captain him. And a lot of people that haven't used their wild card early like me will be wild carding, so they're not going to be able to triple captain. So I thought this would be the time whenever I use it, it will cover my -8. And not only will it cover my -8, but if it pays off, it will give me that little boost that I need. And I'll have the players that I want going forward. I'm not saying that every single person on my team is someone that's a keeper, which I'll allude to in a minute. But in regards to the moves I made, all 4 of them I'm happy with. And I think when I look at the triple captain choice, just in bonuses, Haaland covered me. Just in bonuses. Because obviously you got a free bonus. That's 9 points just for bonuses. It covers my -8 immediately. So I was really, really happy with the choice I made. However, this fool, Dewsbury Hall, he's now suspended with 5 yellow cards in 6 games. Now, he didn't have a bad performance. And I can't just make him donut of the week because of what he did. But 5 yellow cards in 6, the discipline's weak, boy. I don't know if you're going to last in my team long.
Yeah, but 2 of his yellows they're nonsense. Like, he shouldn't have got them.
5 yellows.
The one where he took the free kick, he took a free kick early. He didn't even take it early. I've never even seen that somebody get booked for taking a free kick too quick. And even the one that the yellow that he got against West Ham, he won the ball. Like, and he wasn't bad. It's just weird. Like, some of the decisions that have gone against him, not.
As we said, inconsistencies with refereeing and VAR.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
In my team, Dewsbury Hall was in there because of his price. Being suspended, it's only 1 game, granted. He wasn't going to play that game, but it's annoying. And for a manager like me, who's ruthless, I don't know if he's going to be there next week.
We know you take it to heart, my friend.
He might not be there next week.
We know you did.
But, again, he's cheap, and I've done my move. I've made my move this week. So I weren't out here trying to make minuses this week, necessarily. And Livermento's are now injured. So I'm looking at Dewsbury Hall, Livermento, both out, which leaves me 1 sub on the bench. I'm not sure how I feel about that. So, got decisions to make.
What do we know about Livermento's injury? Is it a long-term one?
So, as it stands, we don't know. So, I've got to monitor it.
Okay.
I think I'll get an idea once they play during the week. There should be an update by then. But he was out for a long time previously, so I'm hoping it's not a long term. And when I look at my team, I've still got a question mark on a few players. Like, Kudos needs to do something soon. He's winding me up. I know he's got some assists and stuff. He had a goal ruled out this weekend. But Tottenham have got a good run.
How do you feel? How do you feel about João Pedro? Because
have you got him in your team? Right?
Yeah, I got him too.
So
I'm curious to see how you feel about him because
I don't really want to give you no
he's
tips,
obviously had a bit of
because of the audience, I'm gonna have to. See what I mean? But as it stands right now, for me, he's a keeper. Like, as this is, I'm now on a podcast, so I have to speak honestly. He got a red card tonight, Champions League, so that means he's not going to be playing Champions League, which means he's definitely going to be playing Prem. 90 minutes. He made 90 minutes before that red, so he's fit enough to play. Why would I take him out now? There's some tough games coming up, which we'll probably go into later, but there's some tough games coming up, and if Chelsea's going to get those goals, he's their striker, right? So hopefully he'll be amongst that. So I'm not taking him out of my team, so you know, and I wouldn't advise anyone to take out João Pedro right now. It doesn't make sense for me, even though he's got hard games. And since you asked me that question and you've got him, what's your take on him, Guffs?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that João Pedro at this point isn't worth getting rid of, but I do feel like he's better in the pocket as opposed to a striker. I don't like looking at his data. He's not getting the volume of chances that he was when he was kind of floating from the 10 position. But having said that, he's going to play week in, week out, right? I think he's fortunate that the people around his price point, I don't really think they are better than him. So I'm with you. I'm going to keep him. But it's been a few game weeks now. He's got 2 points. And I'm just thinking, just in terms of a differential standpoint, he's one of those ones that I'm looking at because I've got the same front three as you got, right? I've got Gyökeres, Haaland and Pedro. And I think a lot of people will probably have the same front three. I think that's the template front three, right? For most teams. And as we get into more game weeks, I might start thinking about potentially trying to find a differential and finding a striker that, like an Evan Nilsson, for example, from Bournemouth, who hasn't done much yet, and save some money, and maybe some weeks play a 3-5-2 formation. But
he's not indispensable in my team. But as it stands now, I've got other players and other priorities. Like I said, I've got Dewsbury, who's back after 1 match suspension. Livramento, I don't know what's going on. And there's players in my team that I'm watching. Like we've got a good run at Arsenal, but is Eze the right Arsenal player for me to have? It's a question, And yeah, there's other players I'm looking at, but I'm not going to start talking about all of them. Last week, I told you in advance what I was doing. This week, I'm just going to be honest and open and to questions and marks, but I'm not sure what I'm doing yet this week. I've actually not made any transfers so far. I'm not cared about money, which you guys know I care about. I've just thought, let me see how the European games unfold and take it from there. It sounds crazy again, because obviously now it's 4-1-1 in games for me and that. But even though it's 4-1-1 in games and I've got it again this week, I'm disappointed still. I can't lie. When you triple captain and you get 77 points, we'll take away the -8, so we get you man's favourite number. It's a thing where I'm in a situation.
What? Why for that?
Why?
My G.
I don't know if that's a why. Whatever you do, you do. But my point is this.
No. It's you projecting. You need to relax.
Tell him.
What's that, sir?
You're projecting, my friend. No, where that came from.
Whatever. Both married men. I don't know. That's not on my list of. Anyway, let's just keep it moving. Like I was saying. Yeah. I look at it as a point. We
can't keep it moving. You need to take that back, boy.
Boy, I don't know it. Whatever. But yeah, my point is this. Everyone else in my team didn't really perform. And it's a situation where if I didn't triple captain, like the majority of the game week, there was a low score in points. Again, just like last week. So it was the right choice, but I don't feel like over the moon by as a team performance. It was just the right decision, made my week good like last week. The bench boost saved me, but it wasn't a great outcome of points. And this week I felt like, there's higher scorers this game week than me. But, I'll take it. But yeah, we'll get into our views of the week to come. But before that, I guess it's over to Mystic Meg, the stat man himself, to let us know.
Wow.
No, bro, I'm going to give you a props all episode, man. I'm going to give you the props all episode that you deserve, because that Nuno prediction, I won't stop talking about this episode, because that was a bold prediction and you said it with so much chest and it came off. So, credit where credit due. But yeah, over to you with this week's stats.
Yes, so this week I've come with my usual weekly roundup, but also to give an idea on a couple of strategies that people may be using going forwards. The one caveat that I will give is that if you are on a wildcard strategy at the moment, I generally would shy away from it on game week 7, because we're going into the international break and who knows what happens to players when they're out for that 2-week period. You don't want to be making moves and then when you come back you hear that, there's a player that's out now for 2-3 weeks or whatever not, which means and forces you into more transfers. And then usually when we come back in game week 8, we have dodgy results. So for me, it's a no-no, but I know it's a strategy that many people are looking at or many people will be on next week.
I've got to give one tip quickly. Sorry. So the Chelsea manager, this is for Guffs as well, as you asked me the question. He said that he doesn't see why Brazil will take João Pedro, considering his recent issues, even though he played tonight and got a red card in the 96th minute. But he said that it's friendly matches, so he doesn't see why João Pedro needs to go. So there's a very high potential that João Pedro won't be going with the Brazil squad in the international break. So that's another reason for anyone that's got him in their team to keep hold of him. Obviously, you can keep track of the news via Chelsea websites or whatever platforms you use. But I just thought I'd throw that in there because, as the stat man said, international break, a lot of injuries can happen. And if your players are not going, then they're staying home, they should be okay. But yeah, sorry to interrupt. Back to you, big man.
No, valuable tidbits.
No days off, no days off, no days off, no days off. you ever hear the story about Leon? I said Leon, they said Leon. He was from the flats that the jack kids be on. Before the cats they had they cracked a fiend on. They say on the street he a fiend on. When he squeezed on, it's phenomenal. Make a change off a name like a hitman, and we'll hitman if it's reasonable. Then you'll have
As I prepare to take young Kano out for his final walk of the day, you can clearly hear the clock behind me ticking towards game week 7. And game week 7 isn't just another week. It's the week before the interlull. Many are thinking of wildcarding, captaincy choices are very tight, and the fixtures are sharp enough to hurt you. So let's cut through it. First up, the Arsenal versus West Ham. London derbies don't deliver safety, they deliver grudges. The deep dive here tells us that Arsenal have conceded in 3 of the last 4 home matches. Both of these teams have scored in 7 of the last 10 meetings between each other. And in terms of the ones to watch, there are 2 from Arsenal, Ødegaard as he's now fit, and Eze because he's just that damn good, and he had limited minutes in the Champions League earlier this week. Both of these are long-term picks. From the Hammers, it's Bowen. 3 goals, 1 assist already, and he's had a nice fixture run from game week 9. But there is caution here. Do not buy Arsenal defenders here looking for stability. Buy attackers to exploit the chaos. Next up, Manchester United versus Sunderland. We all know that Old Trafford isn't the fortress it once was. It's far from that, it's an open house. United's XGA is over 10 across the first 6 games this season. That's bottom half defensive metrics. And for all their troubles, Sunderland have the fewest shots on target conceded of all the promoted sides. In terms of players to watch, well, Bruno's still carrying high ownership, but if he blanks here, the sell window opens. The key, don't captain here on badge value alone, pick based on numbers, and unfortunately for United, their numbers scream, it's a trap. On to the big one, Chelsea versus Liverpool. This isn't heavyweight football, it's 2 punch-drunk fighters swinging for pride. Chelsea have only got 1 win in the last 8 versus Liverpool. Salah has got 4 goals and 3 assists in that 8. However, this season, Liverpool have been shaky in parts and have conceded 2 or more goals in 3 of the last 5 away games. That said, the Egyptian king is the only season-long lock here. Ignore all the noise. Palmer is out, but that doesn't matter. Pedro has been well rested due to his early bath this week. There's no defensive stability here either, on either side. So don't waste transfers chasing clean sheets. If you load up here, expect returns, but also expect red cards, bonus kills, and bench headaches. There's also not a lot to say about Villa v Burnley. Burnley don't really travel well, they surrender. Burnley's away XGA is 2 goals per match. That's the worst in the league. And for those of you that kept faith in Watkins, hopefully he makes sure that your faith is well invested this week. Brentford v Man City, death by 1,000 shots. Brentford at home are stubborn, City away are inevitable. When we look at the data, Brentford beat City twice in 2022-2023. That was a rare double scalp. But this season, they've got 11.5 XGA, the 3rd worst in the league. And then we have Haaland, 7 goals in 6, and he's averaging 5.5 shots per game. Players to watch for strategy? None other than Haaland. He's the safest captaincy choice for this week. Also look into Foden as we see if he can build minutes into his wild card. If you fade Haaland here, you just like pain. Otherwise, it's armband insurance. And finally, Everton v Crystal Palace. This is the boredom tax game of the weekend. Only thing to see here is whether Sarr can confirm what he did last week. If he does, buy. Game week 7 is where all the chips are meeting choices. Don't get trapped in badge bias. Follow the fixtures, follow data, buy players for the runs ahead, not the regrets behind. Statman out. Back to the pod we go.
Win.
So, that was some interesting stuff. I guess we should get into our team strategies for the next game week now. So, yeah, back to you, big man. What's your thoughts for this game week?
For me personally, I'm not going to go against what I was saying previously, so I won't be using any of the chips that were available to me at the moment. Fixtures are not really suggesting to me that it's the right time. So there isn't a triple captain opportunity for me at the moment. Free hit, there's no need to do that. I always find, or I tend to find with chips, you kind of need to allow them to pick themselves rather than you force it. So if there is a need injury wise or rotation wise, then yeah, go ahead. So now I said that I would avoid 7 or 8 as a week to do wildcards. If the needs must, then yeah, obviously do it. But for me, I feel that I'll be rolling my transfer. I'll see what's what. I'll suffer the pain for another couple of weeks and then reassess where I'm going to be with things. Like my general thought process had been that I'd be looking to kind of bench boost in and around game week 11 and game week 12. So from that perspective, I want to try and build up as many free transfers as possible. So that's the reason for the strategy that I'm talking to you about at the moment. But likewise, if you're in a situation where you want to be a bit more aggressive and you want to chase hold, then really game week 9 is probably the best place for you to wildcard. You can rebuild and then pretty soon after that you'd bench boost.
Okay, fair.
That's really where I'm coming from.
Where you go?
Like in terms of where I'm going to go with things.
So yeah, exclusive. -4, bruv.
Okay.
It's this week for me.
Have you done it already? Because you said it's an exclusive. I'm assuming you've done it already.
It's done. And as I kind of alluded to before, you know, I need to cover Arsenal because Arsenal got good games right now. And I thought about maybe waiting a game week, but I thought, why wait when they're playing at home to West Ham? You know, I thought that I might as well just do it now.
Double up at the back.
So you'll see in it. You'll see what happens. But, you know, I've just basically just thought that let me just go and get the players in for this run. I flirted with the idea of maybe bringing in some midfield players from Arsenal, Saka, Eze, but I'm just not convinced about Saka's fitness. He doesn't seem to be playing full games right now and isn't quite in the flow, and has been brought off. I mean, the Newcastle game he was sub, right? When would you ever see that? In a game you need to win and you're losing and he comes off the pitch. So that's an indication to me that he's not necessarily someone that is, you know, who can't get subbed. As been last few years he has been. Okay. And Eze, I'm not quite sure whether or not he's a certainty to start every game for Arsenal. I think he'll rotate the team according to who we play against. So
yeah, I was going to say I don't think anybody is safe for Arsenal anymore. Even Gyökeres, he's only getting this extended run because you don't have an alternative. Not to say that he wouldn't be playing, etc. It's more that there is no alternative at the moment. Yeah, so he can't even get any rest. Like, you feel sorry for him for that. Because he's got a lot of pressure on him for reasons beyond his control, really. Definitely. And he can't get any respite.
Yeah. But I brought in, you know, players which I think are as certain as you can be in Arsenal's team. Yeah. So I'm sure you can decipher who that could be from your.
Yeah, of course, done it already.
In terms of the strategy going forward, I mean, we have to remember that game week 16 you get 5 changes, right? So to count for the African Cup of Nations, so
it's 10 games away.
Even though you don't have any African players,
there is 10 games away. But I think that although it's far away, it kind of changes in terms of me having to build up at the back end. That game at 12 onwards, for example, you don't really need to. So I mean, I'm already thinking about even that far out how I'm gonna kind of negotiate certain game weeks. But yeah, to Arc's point, there's no need to kind of play a chip at this game week. You've got the break coming up. I think it's a time to sort of hold any chips you do have. But yeah, I've made a -4 because I think I had to kind of do it to kind of counteract what people have done, but also try and add some guys back there that can give me some clean sheets. Yeah, that's me.
Okay. For myself, like I said, you know, I did the -8 last week. When hardcore strikes, he sometimes strikes game weeks in a row. This won't be one of them. I'm not planning on doing minuses this week. I've not made any changes this week, but I'm monitoring the European games. Like I said, Dewsbury Hall's out for 1 game. So he'll miss this game week and then be back after the international break. So it's not the end of the world. He was on our bench. But Livramento, he's out. So I have to have my eye on Livramento. If he's out long term, he's going to be my obvious transfer. Will I try to double up like Guffs? Because I bought in Rare last week. Will I try to double up like Guffs? It's a question mark. I think I like Livramento. So if I can keep him and he's going to be back after the international break, I might try to roll out with one sub on the bench and roll my transfer over like Ark said, and then go into having 2 after the international break, which might be a good thing for me. But as you know, when I have 2 free transfers, it doesn't mean I won't do a minus. But yeah, my plan isn't to take minuses this week, and if I can, I'll roll over my transfer probably because I'm happy with my team. But I think it's important to have more than one sub on the bench, and that sub being Gay, who's been doing okay for me and they've been strong defensively. Not a bad sub, but I've got question marks over Reindeer still. You know, he's a bit hit and miss. He's a good player and he'll get points some weeks and he might not get points some weeks. He's played every game so far, but I still don't trust Pep's roulette. So everyone that's been in fantasy football for a while knows how Pep operates. And, you know, I'm starting to feel like...
You say that.
Go on.
You say that, but like, he hasn't got a bunch of options in the middle of the park, is he, Pep? So like, I think Rangers is pretty safe, right? Like, who is he going to play instead of Rangers? Like, really?
So I can say players, but I can't bother to go through a list of players. But you know, he has got options. You know, he's got Gundogan, for example. Rodri. Who's that guy that just came back? He was at Chelsea. He was okay. Can't even think, man.
Kovacic.
Right, he's back. So there's options, and he likes to rotate. But my point isn't that. It's when Reindeers is like my cheapo, and I had 2 cheapos, yeah? Reindeers is in Man City team he plays, who's a good cheapo, and I had Dewsbury, 5 yellows, Hall. So like, if I was to replace Dewsbury and keep Reindeers, it might be a bit better for me. But anyway, I'm not planning on making no changes, and if Livermento's out, I'll have to. That's that.
Just on your point, with regards to Reindeers, bearing in mind he is just a cheap enabler, like what is it you're hoping to get out of it?
Playing for Man City and seeing the goals that he scored for his previous club and seeing the start he made in the first game, I'd like to think that if he's in my team and I've got Dewsbury Hall on my bench every week, for example, that he, as my 4th starting midfielder, will score goals and do things for me. So if he's not doing so, there's other options in and around that price range, maybe $1 million more or so, where it might be worth putting them in instead of keeping him, especially if he's potential to be rotated. So I'm just watching him. I'm not unhappy with him.
Yeah.
I'm content with him, but I'm just saying to all of those who has Reindeers, he's someone that we should keep an eye on just to see what happens with him. And that's all I'm saying to the viewers and to you guys. But, you know, as a cheapo, he's okay for now for me. But nobody's safe in my team. And that's just the reals. That's the bottom line. But I suppose we've spoken about what we're looking to do next week. The big game, we should talk about the big game of next week is Chelsea-Liverpool. Like,
This is an interesting game because we played before them, right? If I'm not
correct.
mistaken. As in we Arsenal.
Yes, correct.
So this game, there's potentially a lot riding on this game because Liverpool, they lost against Galatasaray, as we know. So that's now 2 back-to-back defeats. I'm sure they're looking to bounce back. Chelsea have obviously lost 2 games in a row as well in the league. And Liverpool haven't got a great record there over the last few years. So, you know, for Liverpool, you know, a week ago, they're 5 points, can get 8 points clear. to go into this game week, a week later to possibly be 1 point behind, psychologically could be a big shift for them. So I think there's a lot riding this game in terms of the momentum of the title race. I know it's still very early on, that can happen. But this is an important period coming up right now. And I think both teams need to get this win. I think Chelsea needs to get going for their own selves. Obviously, there's no Palmer in their team, so that affects in terms of their output. But, Chelsea's still got good players on the pitch, and they can hurt Liverpool. My one concern with them is defensively, they don't look great. And obviously, they lost Chalobah as well for this game. So you do worry about their ability to keep Liverpool out at the other end of the pitch. But I think it'd be a good game. I think it'd be interesting. I'm looking at this game and thinking maybe a 2-2 draw is my prediction. But yeah, we'll see. I can't really call this one. You would say Liverpool are slight favourites, but I think, Chelsea is always a tough game for them at the Bridge. So yeah, 2-2 for me.
You're in the safe zone, by the way. It's not an Arsenal prediction, so you can give us your view. For those that haven't seen the Triple Captains before, Arc does not predict any Arsenal game whatsoever. So that's why I've said that.
Nope.
But sorry, Arc. Go ahead.
Yeah, looking at this fixture and tagging on from the segment that we've already just seen, I'll just reiterate, Chelsea, they've only won once in 8 against Liverpool. You got to see it, but you've got a weird kind of mix at the moment because Liverpool have been conceding a lot of goals away from home. I think in their last 3 out of 5 from away from home, they've conceded more than 2 or more goals. So it's a strange match, and you've got loads of different things that you can put in there to weigh up. It's like you got Isaac, who hasn't scored yet. He probably will. Ekitike is going to be back in the mix in terms of what did they do there. There's strange little chinks that you're seeing from Slot as well. I think he's called out a player every game for the last 3. Then obviously you can't discount the Egyptian King. For him in the last 8 games against them, he's got 4 goals, 3 assists. So again, if you go with history, it would suggest that Liverpool are going to do it. And I'm minded to feel that they're just that much stronger than Chelsea that they will. But as Guffs has alluded to, going to Stamford Bridge is never an easy thing. But I think that even for Chelsea, they're kind of in a strange space. Maresca seems like he's a bit up and down at the moment. The tactics are not really doing anything particularly great for them. They haven't won in a couple of games and stuff like this. So we'll see. And like you say, the defensive issue with Chalobah not being there is quite a big thing. And to be fair to Chalobah, the way he's changed things around after the way Chelsea dealt with him last year, it was a real disrespect, and they brought him back, and obviously he's turned it around and so on. But
man's got a fresh trim as well. You see that?
Yeah, but you know what?
If I had to go, if I had to be binary on this, I would say that it's a Liverpool win. I don't know what by, and I do think that Liverpool will concede. So I think there will be goals in the game.
Sure.
I'd go with a Liverpool win, but obviously I'm rooting for them not to get that win.
Cool. So Guffs is saying 2 around that. You're saying it'll be a goal scoring game, but Liverpool get the victory.
Yeah, no team to score, away win.
Before I go into mine, talking about Chalobah's new trim. Is it a Samson trim? Man's cut off his, don't know what I'd call them, but he's cut off his hair. Let's just call it that. And then next thing you know, get the red card straight away. Is it going to be the downward spiral for him now? Is it? Because he's been looking good, to be fair to him. But anyway, forget him because he's not even playing. I think I'm with Arc. I think Liverpool are going to want to bounce back strong. It's definitely going to be goals in both teams because I don't really see Chelsea keeping out the Liverpool attack, and then I don't see the Liverpool defence restraining Chelsea even though I think Liverpool are more likely to score than Chelsea, I think both teams will score. And it leads me to thinking maybe a 2-1 Liverpool, maybe a 1-0. So I'm a bit in between the both of you. Why for that? But yeah, I think it's going to be like why I blocked it. But yeah, I'm thinking it's more of it's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. But I think João Pedro will score. Because Guff asked me about João Pedro. I think he will be on the score sheet. And potentially, that guy that we don't have in any of our squads, Mo Salah, will finally get a goal and open play. So I think. So,
maybe, because Frimpong will be back, won't he?
Yeah.
So he'll have some backup on that side.
So I'm predicting João Pedro and Salah both scoring. And I have a 1-0 or 2-1 to Liverpool. But it's a very tough game for any of us to predict. Even for the guy that knows things in advance over there. But captains. Let's go into our captain choices. So starting a few up. Who's your captain going to be?
I said a few weeks ago, Haaland set and forget for at least 3 weeks. So
that's that.
I won't be changing anything.
I guess that's that. Guffs, you? Any differentials, or are you just going to copy Arc? I'm not joking. Are you kind of Haaland too? Like, what you say?
I think Haaland is the sensible choice. You know, he's in form. Brentford's defence hasn't been great. But I would be thinking also a little bit for Gyökeres. I think that he's going to want to get going again. I think it's important for us as a team to get him going. And he possibly could lick off this game week and get a couple of goals. So I'm kind of torn between them two, really, from being honest.
Should leave him up.
There are a few other players that you could think of, which are sneaky picks, but I think to me it's between Haaland and Gyökeres.
That's fair. I'll keep it simple like Arc. I didn't do this -8 and take that big risk, even though I got reward, to go and bench Haaland after he delivered for me last week. So Haaland will be my captain. I agree with Guffs that Gyökeres could get a few goals in this game. You'd expect it against West Ham, and you expect Arsenal, especially as an Arsenal fan again, to go out and destroy West Ham. But this Nuno, coming in, getting that little draw, new manager bounce, the fact that, okay, we did well against Newcastle. I want to see a convincing victory from Arsenal. I believe we can do it, but...
So you weren't convinced against Newcastle?
Well, we won in the dire minutes. So what I'm saying is, I want to go out and destroy a team. That's what I want. I want it to be Arsenal 4, West Ham 0. That's what I want. I don't want a last minute winner against West Ham. So, and...
I mean, West Ham have beaten us, haven't they, the last 2 games at Emirates, haven't they? The last 2 years they come to Emirates and won. So we kind of we owe them one, really.
Listen, this is how I look at it. You mentioned it earlier, Guffs, but you didn't elaborate, and I'm going to now. We've had a very tough run as an Arsenal team. Probably the toughest run out of all teams for the first 6. The next 6, I expect a minimum, and when I say minimum, I expect more, but a minimum of 4 out of 6 victories. The only games that I expect to see challenges are Crystal Palace, who's on great form, and our North London rivals. Apart from that, I expect victories in those 4 games. And I want victories in all 6, but, it's not about Arsenal. I'm just saying that West Ham, it's going to be straight 3 points with no excuses. And then hopefully Chelsea can take some points off Liverpool to make the league interesting. Because if we do beat West Ham convincingly, we go top. If they draw, we've got the goal difference. If they lose, we've got the points and goal difference. So it's an important game to go. Remember what happened with me when you got the most points that game week, I believe, Guffs. And then I had to go into the international break just thinking about what I'm going to do next. Do you get me? And I feel like if we can, as a football club, Arsenal can go into the international break top of the league, it's a good way to go into the international break. And I think Chelsea could get the draw, like I said. So it'll be interesting times. But, you know.
So just going back to the captain choices in general, like, so from the games that are on, probably the only real others that you could look at would be Salah and, weirdly, Watkins, because they're playing Burnley. And obviously he got a number of shots away over the weekend, etc. His numbers started to look good. Maybe Villa are turning the corner.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a gambler and you're chasing upside, like, it could be a differential.
Maybe.
More of a safer differential than Gyökeres, maybe. Because of what they're actually doing.
Well, they need to build.
Salah, like I said, he's got the history in the fixture against Chelsea, so it's possible that he hauls. So it just dependent on the teams that people have got out there. You know, I think even last week, one of you two may have alluded to maybe it would be right to jump on Watkins now because he's bottomed out, right? Like,
I said it.
People are starting.
And if I did it, it would have been mad, innit? Because I actually was saying that because you guys have all had him in your team and he's gone down in price, getting him in while he's cheap or cheaper might have been the right move. And even for you, Guffs, you kept Rogers, sorry. Maybe you should have kept Watkins.
Yeah.
But
handball specialist.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't justify keeping him in my team, to be honest with you. Do you know what I mean? Like, he had to go.
I think I put it out there. I said I've made my peace with Oliver. I don't care. Like, he won't be coming back unless he's in some supreme form. Like, and I want to spend the money, but yeah, he's bugged me big time.
At the end of the day, I think the free truckers that I have are the free truckers to have in the game. I think, personally.
Maybe, yeah. Well, I've got them, so I'm going to have to
maybe
agree.
not. What about Bowen? Bowen is like the third or fourth highest scoring striker in the game as it stands now.
I ain't putting him in my team.
Like, I find him a bit of a weird one, right? So because FPL have made him a striker, but the reality is of what Nuno has done already looks as though he will go back to that 4-2-3-1. So Bowen will be on a wing.
He goes back to midfield next season. He might be in my team, but I'll write about that then.
Well, that said, he's producing as much as Pedro right now.
But he's
He's producing more than he's producing. He's 7.7 now, I think.
And how much is Pedro?
Or something like that. Pedro's about the same.
8. Yeah.
They're roughly the same.
So all I'm saying is that if we're looking at strategies and things like this, like West Ham after the Arsenal game, I think West Ham have got a decent run of fixtures.
Okay, that's interesting.
Obviously,
so that's when
come
you're
back from international break and stuff.
Okay, it's good to know. But all right, let's we've talked about the captains now. I guess it's time for that mini league table.
Indeed.
So. There's some big scores there. See in the top 3. So gonna win. You're holding on to that top spot. I give you that. You're not letting that top spot go currently. Borussia Teeth. Funny team name that. Doing his thing. Big him up. Second place. And a tight third. Next Gen. 4 points behind him. That's a top 3, doing well. Into the 400's going to win. Got to give you your ratings on that. And then the bottom 3. Glim. It's still looking glim for you, my friend. Can I say? You're fighting with it's 2 peak for you, and yeah, it's just staying glim. But you outscored him this week, so you're closing the gap. 2 peak for you. I think it's still 2 peak for you, mate. You need to keep it going.
I think it's the bottom three. The bottom three, the same from last week.
Yeah,
right?
that's
Just
correct.
moved.
You haven't, but Glim's making a comeback. He's gaining.
Well, barely.
He's gaining. Regardless, it starts so small. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint.
Who's the person with the most points this game week? That's the question. In it to win it. 91 points, yeah? Star performance. 91, I'm guessing you're the triple captain. It makes sense. And well done to you. I had a triple captain this week. The podcast is the triple captains. It's been a decent week for the triple captainers. As we talk about the triple captainers, we all had green arrows. So regardless of positions or how we feel about our positions in the league, all 3 of us had green arrows this week.
And I'm on the first page. So,
Well done to you, fella.
Things to be happy about. I made it.
Well done to getting onto the first page. What can I say? The league's it's not taking shape. I don't want to go too far. We're 6 games in, but we're at a good point now where it's important that green arrows are on your page weekly. And we've all got the green arrows, and we all want to continue to get them, as will everyone else in the league and anyone else doing FPL. But I think it's time now to just keep rising, and it's an interesting game week coming, as we discussed. Some good games, players playing against each other.
We've got to find Arc. Me and you got to find a way to get this guy out of the middle, bro. Do you know what I mean? This has to stop now.
Boy.
Enough's enough.
It's 4-1-1.
It's got to stop now.
You know what?
I got a -4, so like, do you know what I mean?
What
It's
do you mean?
difficult because everybody has become very template.
I'm just saying, like, one of us got to step forward and lick you back to the side, bro. Do you know what I mean? So
I got bigger fish to fry. As you saw in the last segment that you guys was talking, my head was held down and my hat was hanging down in shame. I'm looking at that leaderboard and I can see the reason for my team name, my son's keeper. I can see him in the top 3. I dearly cannot have a situation where he wins this league.
listen, your team name should be my keeper, full stop.
You know what? Big him up, man.
I'm playing by your son.
Big him up, though. Big him up.
No, we're not bigging him up.
I'm bigging him up.
Borussia T. That's
I'm
what he
bigging
needs
him
to
up.
do.
Borussia T.
Yeah.
You know, you're repping the family. And, last season, like I said at the beginning, you beat your dad for the first time, I believe. And this season, you started on fire. You're ahead of...
I do want to have a word of caution, though.
1 second, man. You're ahead of all of us right now. So, like, I want to see if you maintain it. That's what I want to see right now, if I'm honest with you. Because you think, okay, you beat your dad last season. I don't think you're going to come and beat all 3 of the captains, really. So, like, I'm keeping an eye on you, so you know. Borussia T, yeah? Sorry, Guffs, but I just wanted to let him know. I see him. You get me? So, what was he saying?
I'm just saying a word of caution, I'm pretty sure he's had a strong start last season, among others. And we all know how that ended.
Nah, he didn't, But, like, to be fair to him, like, I see him, he's on it. And the one thing that you see, and maybe to the detriment, I don't watch what he does. I let him do his thing and I am concentrating on doing what I can do to get out of situations. But yeah, he's making some good moves. Like, a lot of the things that he's doing, I see the logic and so on, so you can't argue with it, and he's got the numbers.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about, right?
Look
Putting those numbers on the board.
Listen to Guffs as well. I've taken a -4, so he's trying to do, and I did a -8 last week. I said, because I'm a -8.
Oh, what caveat in the banter?
Yeah,
like so that if it all goes wrong, it's okay. Like I got a minus. Yeah.
Let's see what he's doing there. Do you get me? But it's not quite a -8. It's 4 points, and that can just be a goal from the midfielder. Do you know what I mean? But you know what? We're going to be going into the last game before the international break. It's 4-1-1. It'll either be 5-1-1 or 4-2-1. So if one of you get the lead for the last game before if one of you get the why am I always getting interrupted? Why am I always getting interrupted? Why can't a man speak?
2 + 2 is 4. I mean,
yeah. Quick maths, isn't it? Straight. If you get another win, you can do some maths. But literally, we'll see if any of us can change it up, or if it's just gonna be 5-1-1. But what I would like to say is it's been good to get FPL back, and the international breaks are so boring. You know, like I don't love them. We mentioned earlier, or should I say, Guffs said he's not really too up to date with the other leagues. I'm gonna go outright and say I do not watch any other leagues. I only watch the Prem. Literally, my focus is on the team I support, which is Arsenal, and the Premier League because I do FPL. I don't watch any other leagues anymore. And that's just who I am. So when it's international break, it's a bit boring for me. So I'm glad that this one will be getting out of the way, and hopefully there's none for a long time.
Flight, yeah?
Say that again?
I said, where it's boring for you, what are you going to do? Catch another flight?
100%.
Another book?
International break means international hots is off. You get me? Holiday hots is gone again. International break means I'm out of there. So I'll be up.
So where are you going this time?
It's probably worth mentioning to the viewers, you know, we got a special live recording this Sunday, right? So
yes, indeed.
To those who are watching this, tune in live, comment, get involved this Sunday. We'll be coming straight after the last games this game week, which will be on Sunday. So we'll be giving our views live and direct, unfiltered. Hopefully Hots can keep his language, you know what I mean, down to minimum. But look for that. And also, as we say every game week, please do like, subscribe, show some support. We really do appreciate it, and it goes a long way. So thank you for those who have already supported, and keep doing it.
If you do watch and you're not subscribed, please subscribe as well, because I know it's, you know, everyone could be guilty of watching something and not subscribing. It's not hard to just hit that subscribe button and show your support, as Guff said. And, you know, if you do join the live,
and force everybody in your household to like, subscribe as well.
No.
Even your fishbowl.
Everyone, your work colleagues, your postman, everybody.
Yep.
You know, support the team. We're trying to, you know, do something different. There's, you know, the different streams out there, and you know, big them up. But we're doing our thing our way, and you know, we're only hoping to get better and better as we go along. You know, adding that element this weekend with the live streams, and hopefully you see which one of the triple captains gets the most points and hosts that live. But being alive, I suppose it's going to be a bit different. But like, subscribe, support, promote, all of that, and you see it on the screen. It's FPL Hots, aka Hardcore Hots. So I did my thing hardcore this week. You see them man there, Guffs, Arc. Catch us on the socials and support.
Truth be told, when I wonder what the future holds,